Okay, in this series of videos, I will be visiting a couple of websites and going through the basic concepts of React. And for that, I'm going to open up a new tab in my browser and go visit w3schools.com. They do have all kinds of tutorials on a lot of languages, specifically HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Since we're doing React, JavaScript will be a very important part of this. React is its own animal though, and it's in its own section. It's the same website /React. And there it is. Here's a tutorial. There's about a dozen lessons. There's multiple ways to look at this, and one of them is going to be reading it on your own and start learning React by following their examples, using their interface to change the programming code that they show to you, to create your own, etc. You can click on any of these green buttons to move around, particularly to start learning React now. You'll get samples, you'll get pieces of code, you'll get an environment where you actually see what's going on with the code that's given to you. This code is separated into a couple of files here. You have an index.html, which is the web page itself, that's calling a JavaScript. The JavaScript is in index.js in this sample, and you can see that this is just like you would see any JavaScript file, except it imports a couple of things that I'll tell you about in the following videos. React is its own thing. It's not just JavaScript. JavaScript runs on any website. It runs on any browser. All computers understand JavaScript. React is a little bit different. It's more advanced. It relies on libraries. It's a framework, so it needs to have a specific environment to run in. More likely than not, if you are a professional using React, you will be probably installing nodejs, which once again is its own thing. You'll have to download it, install on your computer. It's free. It's not very hard to use, but for my purposes, I teach a lot of high school classes, taking college courses. So I don't expect everyone to have a PC or Mac or a full computer. I know that the school district distributes Chromebooks, so that's what this is. This is going to be tailored to be an introduction to students who want to learn about React that only have access to a Chromebook. Well, before I keep on talking any longer, I'll just tell you a little bit about what to expect with the lessons. I'll close that other one that opened. Like I said, there are not too many. You can follow them along, and you can do this at home, and that's great. If you have a PC, by all means, download Node.js, etc. But like I said, I'll be focusing mostly on Chromebooks. So I'll tell you in these videos what you need to be concerned with. I'll tell you where to skip parts, sort of like this right here. Although this is important information, it's not something that will work in a Chromebook, so I'll just skip this. This is just how to create in the command line, create a file, and how to edit it, etc. We'll do that, but not with a Node.js environment. So the first lesson is pretty short. I'll go to start learning React now. To go to the next one, introduction. What is React? React is a JavaScript library created by Facebook. So maybe one thing that I skipped over here that I will have to go back and tell you. What you should already know, and that is before starting React.js, you should have intermediate experience in HTML, CSS, JavaScript. If you are one of my students, then you know that HTML and CSS is Web 1. And then Web 2 is when we talk more about JavaScript and, of course, more HTML and CSS. And HTML5, by now I sort of expect that you know what I'm talking about with what that means and what that entails. So I'll skip back to the introduction, or rather forward to the introduction. React is a JavaScript library created by Facebook. There's no history in this class, so I expect that if you want to know more about this, just do your basic Google searches, JavaScript, React, Facebook, etc., and you'll probably get articles about what's going on. This is a tool for building UI components, user interface components. And how does React work? Well, it creates a virtual DOM, and DOM should have been something you learned about in Web 1 and Web 2. We will be loading some DOM elements to run React. There's a little bit of the history right here, so these are just bullet points. So once again, you will need to do some searches if you want more information about that. Since there is only about a dozen lessons, I am not going to make these videos very long. I've already talked for 5 minutes. I'm going to stop right here, give you a chance to sort of go back and read all these things on W3 Schools, and I'll see you in the next one.